tier list with the best rock metal music movies of all time. Well, not of all time. All the movies there on this list, I watch it. I think so. I double check everything. So I just want to, debate and talk a little bit about this type of movie that it's not very common, but there's a couple of very interesting movies. A couple of them are very well known. Some of them are like a hidden gem. Let's talk about a couple of them. And then I have on the list here, it's Masterpiece, top one. It's a good movie. Maybe I'll put great movie. Worth watching. Meh. And not good. I think not good is going to be really hard to happen. But I'll see how it goes. Right? I think there is 25 to 15 titles. I'm not sure how many titles there are here. But all those movies I watch, maybe a couple of years ago. Some of them are recent. I just watched 2 on this list the last week, so a little fresh to talk about it. But anyways, let's start with the tier list. Let's start with the first movie, Airheads. Adam Sandler, Ben Fraser I think Airheads is a classic. It's a comedy more than anything. I think it's the 80s that they mock a little bit about the 80s band. They make fun of them. The songs on the movie, the soundtrack is decent. It's not the funniest movie of all time. I'm not the biggest fan of it. The casting is really good. The story is decent. But it's not my favorite. I'm between great and worth watching. I think Airheads has a bigger cult than actually is a movie. The end it's funny, but I'll keep it worth watching right now. Second movie is Hersher. And Hersher's it's actually really sad. It's more sad than comedy. It's more like a dark humor. And basically just trying to push on a memory is guy loses his mother on a car crash and he becomes depressive, like obsessive with the car, like he's falling around, so he take pills. I think he's crashing on couches. Like he meets someone, and he also plays guitar, and he has the aesthetics of him. It's like more like a thrash metalhead guy. There's Metallica on it. I think there's a scene that he's playing a riff from the Metallica songs. Also Motorhead, but he has good premises. The story starts strong. I think it loses a little bit as they go. So I put worth watching for now. I watched this movie maybe like 6-7 years ago. I don't remember as much, but what I remember was being a little bit turned off as the story progresses, if that makes sense. But worth watching for sure. Third one on the list. Next one is Rock of Ages. It's a meh. Easy. It's adaptation from the Broadway show. I never seen the Broadway show. I watched this movie once. I think the best part is when Tom Cruise sings "Pour Some Sugar on Me," but start is bland. And the soundtrack is 80s soundtrack, which is really good. The acting is okay. It's not the best. It's not the best. I think the peak of the movie is Tom Cruise singing "Pour Some Sugar on Me." He does a rock star, very typical rock star from the 80s. but the rest of the movie, it's Lord of Chaos. And I don't know why people hate this movie so much. Maybe I never read the book, and I know the story sort of well, but I don't understand the hatred. As a movie, it's not real. They hide a couple of facts. They don't tell the true story, and maybe that's why people don't like it as much. But as a movie, it's worth watching for sure. Is it a great movie? Is it a masterpiece? No, but it's worth watching. It's definitely worth watching. It's a very interesting phase for metal. It's part of history. The creation of mayhem, the churches are burning, all this stuff. It's a decent movie. Definitely worth watching. I understand it's not true and doesn't go deep on what actually happened, but it's worth watching. Now, let's go to School of Rock.
The School of Rock. The School of Rock.
And School of Rock is a masterpiece. Sorry, guys. It is the funniest movie, one of the funniest movies of all time. Lots of references. And as a story, it's impossible to happen. The fact that he commits so many crimes on the movie, and it's also funny because of that, because it's no way it would actually happen. But Jack Black is phenomenal. It's funny. It is again a lot of reference. The soundtrack is one of my favorite soundtracks. The original songs, the original music for that, from when they create No Vacancy, the 2 songs for No Vacancy, and also the song that ends the movie, Teacher's Pet. They're great songs. They're great songs. They are fun. It's a movie with a lot of good quotes. A lot of quotes that I repeated to myself and with my friends to this day. I just a sucker for Jack Black. I think School of Rock is a masterpiece. It's so funny. It's such a funny movie. Such a funny movie. Every time, back in the day when we had TV without streaming, every time it was on TV, I would stop and watch it. And it was on Netflix for a long time. I think it's not anymore. But what when I watch today? Well, I don't know. Let's put School of Rock. So School of Rock, it's masterpiece for sure. Next one on the list is Metal Lords, the newest from 2022, I think. Good premises, decent story. Cameos on this movie they are incredibly shocking. They're great. That scene is amazing. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's amazing. The song at the end is great. Like the original song, it's decent, and I think it's a great story because I can see why a lot of like kids and people growing up would relate it with it. So acting's decent, so it's worth watching. I don't think it's a great movie. It loses me a little bit in the middle, pacing, but it's worth watching for sure. It's worth watching. Metal Lords. High Fidelity. One of those things that the book is as good as the movie. It's a great movie. High Fidelity. It's a great movie. The book is already amazing, and I think a lot of the fact that always doing the top five this X, Y, and Z. It's funny because like music, everybody just love lists, and you always have something to debate with. You always have something to talk about it, and the fact that the book obviously does it so well, and then the movie just creates that and adapts that so well as well. John Cusack is great. If you think about it, it's very sad. It's a very sad character, but it's funny. There's a dark humor on it, and it's great. Even for the ones that love to collect vinyls and listen to vinyl music, physical media per se, you relate it a lot with it. It's a great movie for sure. Next one, we're starting getting a territory that people may not have watched it. Some of those movies. Heavy Trip. So Heavy Trip, it's a story of a black metal band that goes. They're in a very small town in Finland, if I'm not wrong, and they want to play in the big festival. And the story of them just growing as a band and going to this festival, and this just all the story in between. I think it's a great movie, very underrated. It's funny, but it doesn't try to be funny. It's just naturally funny. It's drama / comedy, but it's the story. It could be real. I like the references. I like the pacing. I like the characters, the customization, the aesthetics. It's good. I'm between worth watching and great movie, but I think I'm gonna put it as a great movie. Mostly because I don't think most people saw this movie. Yeah. So Heavy Trip. The name of the band is Impile Rectum. Impile Rectum. So, yeah. All right, The Rocker with Rainn Wilson and Emma Stone, Bradley Cooper, Will Arnett. The casting is amazing. It's a comedy / musical. The original music of this, I think, from all of them, might be my favorite. There's a band called Vesuvius, which is basically Rainn Wilson was in this band in the 80s. He got kicked out of the band, and then he starts a new band with his cousin, I think. This cousin. And that's the story of them, just growing up as a band, etc. I think it's very funny because I love Rainn Wilson. Very underrated movie. No one talks about it. The casting is amazing. The soundtrack is great. From the Vesuvius band and from the ADD, which is the band that he starts with his cousin. There's a couple of things that more unrealistic, which it's more a comedy. You shouldn't take this movie as serious. But for the fact that I think it's underrated, I even like more than Airheads. Like I think it's a great movie. Soundtrack of this movie is really good as well. Look at the cover. It's just the way there it is. Next one is a French movie called Pop Redemption, which is basically the story of this band going to play. They got called to play Hellfest. They're a black metal band, and then something happened on the way. It's kind of like a road. It's semi premises of Heavy Trip. A little bit different because there is more drama on it, but it's also so funny. I don't think it'll be as funny as I thought. So, and the ratings on this, they're so low. So when I watch it, I was not very excited, or I wasn't expecting much. Such underrated movie. It goes to a great movie. For sure. Tenacious D, Peak of Destiny. As a movie, and right, hear me out. As a movie, I don't think it's as great as School of Rock, and I don't think it's as great as the band. It is a great movie. Is it a masterpiece? People talk about it. The original songs are great. The cameos are awesome, but I wouldn't put it the same as School of Rock. I think Tenacious D is a step below of that. I know you don't agree with me, but I'm gonna put that. I can change later. Sound of Metal. It is a masterpiece. Because it's something that the acting is amazing. The story of the drummer that starts losing his hearing. The acting is amazing. The topic is something that we don't think about it, right? It was the first time that it's the first time someone brought this topic to this universe. It's sad. It's sad, and you get engaged on the movie. You feel the pain from the characters around it. Again, acting is great. It's a masterpiece. It's one of the best of the genre for sure. That has metal and rock as premises for sure. Detroit Rock City. Now I watched this movie a long time ago. If I'm not wrong, it's four friends that go to the Kiss concert, right? I don't remember much. I'll put worth watching, but I don't remember. I have to rewatch this movie. I'm trying to bring stuff worth watching, I think. Kiss definitely, it's on the movie as well, which makes the movie worth watching. Okay, next one. This is a Spinal Tap. Spinal Tap is masterpiece. The fact that people thought it was a real band at the time, at the 80s. So, if you don't know what it is, and I'm pretty sure you do know what it is, Spinal Tap. This is Spinal Tap is a mockumentary about how the band in the 80s, all the debauchery, all the SS, the everything, right? So the fact that people thought it was a real band, it just makes this movie fantastic. It's funny. It's the way that they think about the jokes and expose some of the ridiculous things that are happening with those bands at that time is just top notch. If you have to see a movie that summarizes the 80s, go watch This is Spinal Tap. For sure. Rockstar. Rockstar is a great movie. Based on a true story from Rip Owens, having a Judas Priest cover band, joining the band. Same happening with Mark Wahlberg with the Steel Dragon band. And I think I say The Rocker has the best soundtrack, but Rockstar has the best soundtrack for sure. I think it was Zakk Wylde on guitar. Has great cameos. Has if you don't remember, has a Miles Kennedy. It's at the end of the movie, and also Michael Starr from Steel Panther. It's on at some point. Obviously, it's story. Obviously, the story is based on something that happened. Not exactly how it's portrayed in the movie, but everybody knows this movie, I think, and it's a great movie. Good story. Gets a little bit of the backstage of what kind of happens with some of the bands, some of the big bands, like getting head to head about who's gonna write, who's the main writer, who's the leader, all this stuff, like what's hire musicians from the band instead of being part of the band per se. So it's a great movie, great lesson at the end for sure. Great acting, great soundtrack. I want to say it's a masterpiece. It could be a couple of things that don't make this movie a masterpiece, but it's a great movie. Great movie for sure. Now, Almost Famous. Guys, I never seen Almost Famous. So I'm going to put here as didn't watch. Can someone didn't watch? Can someone in the comments let me know about Almost Famous? I know it's a famous movie, but I haven't seen it. Yesterday is worth watching. It's a British movie. The story of this guy that he's the only one that knows that the Beatles. Something happens and the only one that knows the Beatles exist. He's a musician, so he starts singing the Beatles songs, and it's kind of like how the Beatles would be portrayed. Not the Beatles portrayed, but kind of like how the modern era would receive the old Beatles songs as they never exist. So he's basically the only one that knows how the Beatles the Beatles are the Beatles, and he's a musician, so he started to remember the songs and playing and recording. And anyways, strong start. The end of the movie is awful. I do not like the end of the movie. They lose the plot. They get an easy way out. There was definitely more. They should have done more to kind of like wrap up the story. But spoilers. If you don't want the spoilers, go to this time. They're just gonna show up right now. Now, keep going. I'll wait. Now, if you watch this movie and you sing towards the end that scene with John Lennon, him and John Lennon, there's no way. Like, I super emotional. It was super emotional. There's no way to not get emotional about that. If you're a Beatles fan, right? About that scene. They got an actor that it's kind of how John Lennon would be if he was still alive. It's crazy. It's crazy. I think the whole movie is worth it because of that scene. It has a good message, but the end's a little off. Let's go to the next one. Bohemian Rhapsody. History of Queen is a man. Only good thing about this movie is the last 15 minutes Live Aid. I'm sorry. Nothing much. It's not a memorable movie. It's not... They hide everything. They don't talk about anything that you wanted to know. Very rarely. They put everything under the sheets, and they don't talk about anything. It's a man. If you're a Queen fan, you probably have watched this one. But after I was done with that movie, it's kind of disappointing. Next one. Whiplash. Whiplash is a masterpiece. There's no fucking way. It's the only movie that's not a horror movie that gets me goosebumps when J.K. Simmons, the first scene that he gets on the rehearsal area with the drum with Miles Teller. That fucking scene is crazy. You kind of like just on the chair, just holding everything. You don't know what's gonna happen. The whole story with the obsession and the edge of pushing the musician and being an asshole and being too much. The acting, like I say, it's unbelievable. The music, it's great. It's jazz, right? We're talking about jazzy, not rock and metal, but it's music. It relates with the drumming as well. Jazz relates with rock. So, Whiplash is masterpiece for sure. Masterpiece. Deathgasm. Deathgasm is a great movie. Very underrated. It's comedy / horror. Tons of references. For the black death metal community, it's a no-brainer. If I'm not mistaken, the band they summon like ancient demon called the Black One, and it's gory. It's funny. It's a great movie. I don't fucking remember much about this movie. Jesus. I remember having tons of fun watching. Couple of years ago. Should I rewatch again? Yes, I should have rewatched again before I make this list, but I'll leave this one as a great movie because it is a great movie. Metalhead. Metalhead is one of those that I watched the last week, and Metalhead's the story of this girl that loses her brother that was a metalhead, and then she becomes one mostly because of grief and obsession about how to deal with the loss. Very sensitive and strong topic to talk about it. and the way that she deals with it. Playing guitar, writing music, writing songs, kind of becoming the outcast on her small community in Iceland, if I'm not wrong. And obviously, she's mostly the only one that understands and does that. With that being said, I wouldn't recommend to everyone because the scenarios and everything, they're amazing. She lives on a small farm, lots of references. Soundtrack is great, but I wouldn't recommend much because it's a very slow paced movie. So if you're not very very into the subject, it's very easy to get lost, right? If we're talking, you know what? I'll put it as a great movie because I think it's worth it. It's worth it to pass that, right? The massive, like School of Rock, Son of Metal, Spinal Tap, Whiplash. If you're not into those things, I'll recommend it regardless. But since we're talking, very niche thing over here, Metalhead is a great movie. I'll change my mind. It's a great movie. Wayne's World is worth watching. I'm not that obsessed with Wayne's World as most people are, and I'm sorry. Hit it on it. I'll take it. I remember watched once. It was okay. It was funny. Never had the desire to watch it. And I understand how maybe it was a bigger thing when it came out, but it's worth watching for me. The Dirt, the story of Motley Crue on Netflix, is worth watching. Although I saw this movie a couple of times, has a problem with maybe all the documentary movies is rushed. It's rushed. It's better than Bohemian Rhapsody because it's more authentic and actually shows stuff that actually happened. And when you see 80s metal documentary band, like the hair metal area, you want to see those things. So that's why The Dirt, it's worth watching. It's not a great movie. It's not a masterpiece. No, it's not mad. Do you all agree that Machine Gun Kelly was a great Tommy Lee? I don't see why not. I think he was a great Tommy Lee. I did not like the other characters on this movie. They're okay, but they definitely rushed when Vince Neil leaves the band. They definitely rushed with they coming back. But it's a great movie. It's worth watching. Good movie. It's worth watching. Heavier Trip. It's the sequel from Heavy Trip. Heavier Trip is meh. They basically, something happens on the first movie. They got back as a not got back as a band, but they have the opportunity to play Wacken, and it's a story of them going to Wacken. But it didn't get me. I didn't like it. They tried. The first one is way better. They try couple small moments that it's worth talking about it, but Heavy Trip is okay. Very meh. But anyways, this is the final list. Let me know in the comments what you think. What movies did I leave out of this? There's definitely tons. But if you don't agree with me, leave in the comments and tell me why. Because, again, I did not watch all those movies at the same time. Not at the same time, but sequentially. So there's a couple ones that I don't remember as much. Of course, I didn't watch Almost Famous. I have to. But anyways, drop the like, comment. Let me know what you think. Share with your friends so they can talk shit about me. I'll take it. I'm fine with that. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.